This is Capistrano Park. 2 days ago, another body was found floating in the river just south of the entrance, the exit entrance here. Take a walk around here and it's a nice little park. Parking lot. Nice little playground. Basketball court, baseball fields. Bathroom. Hey, morning.
How's it going?
Hey, good. What's up, Poochies?
So
You live in the area?
Yeah, I live in the back half of the neighborhood here.
Oh, nice. I just live down by the airport, actually, and I had never come down to this park.
Yeah. Apparently, we made the news.
Yeah, I
the
know.
other
I heard and unfortunately, that what prompted me to come down. I wanted to see if there was. Well, I want to check out the area, and obviously, the homeless problem is a hot button issue all over the place. But
Yeah.
kind of wanted to see if there was any. I saw the volunteer patrol go through, but I don't know if they stepped up patrols around this area. It's a pretty active park for the homeless. Do you know?
Not really.
You don't think so?
You go down to like say Tyson Street Park down by the beach.
Yeah.
And you'll probably have half a dozen.
Yeah.
Plus people that kind of camp out there on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
Buccaneer maybe down the farther south.
Probably Buccaneer too. I grew up here,
Yeah.
so kind of what we have is across the highway. There's Lawrence Canyon that goes back
Right.
behind those condos there.
Yeah.
And the elementary school that's over there.
Oh, right. Yes.
I forget what junkyard used to be back there. So that's.
Oh, it used to be a
homeless-
junkyard back up in that area.
Yeah. So the homeless encampments that are over there is literally no man's land.
Yeah.
Like you don't go.
I know there's a lot of trails on that south side of the highway. I know.
Yeah.
I see. When you come off the 5, the 76th, right at that bottom of the canyon, if you look right, there's an area that's been cleared several times.
Yeah.
By the fence that's real close to the highway.
Yeah.
And that just leads back up. What I assume is back underneath of those condos over there.
Yeah, it's a gully that goes all the way back up to
Yeah.
3rd Street. What's 3rd Street called now? I think it's Civic Center.
Oh,
that
I got
crosses
you.
the freeway.
Yeah.
And so that's like the homeless encampments that are there. You have the type of homeless people that don't want to be found.
Right.
And a number of years
Chronic
ago,
homeless that just
a number of years ago, some woman was ODing, and they drug her ass out to the highway and left her there, and that's where she died.
Is that right?
Yeah. So.
Well, I know there's been a couple. I've talked to a couple of the homeless down at Bennett and 76, and they're pretty much the same way. That Bennett's basically their kind of super highway from Tuohy Canyon, which is back behind the hill that I live on. And to the Chevron and the Pedro's Tacos that's right there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of activity along the bike path, bike trail, and Bennett Road, and also Fusat Road. Where they've started building the new whatever they're building down there.
Yeah.
So I've been doing some interviews with some homeless, some regular people that live around, and just trying to find out what's going on, educate, and I mean, there's a lot of services available for the homeless.
Right.
If they choose to take it. Some of the people I've talked to so far, You know, they think, they know that there's a lot of money being spent on the issue, but they don't think it's trickling down to the streets. But what they don't realize is that the services that they can access are what's trickling down.
Yeah.
Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, someplace to get some food, some medical care,
Yeah.
maybe get on the list to get housing.
So it sounds like you and I are kind of on the same page, because we've had, anyways. Short story long. I was walking these two down by the beach.
Yeah.
And this one homeless guy, he's like, "Hey, nice dogs." I thank you. I wound up sitting down having a conversation with him, and he wasn't an alcoholic. He didn't have drug issues. He didn't have mental issues. He had just fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
He had an issue with his bone on bone with his hip, so like he can barely walk.
Yeah, some arthritis.
Yeah. And so this girl, I had like an hour conversation with him, and she
Sure.
pretty much like crawled into his lap and just like totally like nurtured him and just like lifted his spirits.
Yeah.
So I run out to my brother's house, and I'm telling him about this guy, and he goes, "Hey, I've been volunteering with Helping Hands out of Vista."
Yeah.
He's like, "We just went down and picked that guy up to get him started on some state benefits and stuff to get him out of there."
Sure.
And I was like, "Oh, wild. Okay." So I went down to talk to him a couple more times, and I couldn't find him. And this is kind of sucked, but I come across these other three homeless guys, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm looking for Jeff the Birdman, the guy that talks to the birds here. Do you guys know him? Have you guys seen him?" They're like, "How? We just got here. We don't know anybody." And I'm just like, "Damn, here we are trying to get this one guy off the street,
Yeah,
and there's
and
three
more
more to
that
replace
show
him."
up. Yeah, and anecdotally, I've found that it's hard to, they do these point in time counts where they tell us that 70% of the people who are in Oceanside or in these areas actually are from here. But when you go out and you talk to people on the street, they're like, "We see new homeless people here all the time, people we don't know." And and then they say, "Well, they're effing it up for everybody else. They rob and steal." I mean, there's been plenty of violent crime that's occurred because of homeless people. I mean, I don't know what happened to this person that they found in the river here, but there's been plenty of people they found in the river here over the last 2 or 3 years. I just moved here 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, I'm Kerry.
Oh, Gary.
Gary,
nice to meet you. Yeah, my wife and I moved up here with our 2 kids a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden we get tuned into all this issue that's happening around, and now my wife's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Where'd you move me to? Let's look at someplace else." So I'm like, "Well, I really don't want to move. I like it up here,
Yeah.
but these are social issues that everybody should be tuned with, and do what you can, whether it's going to city council meetings or volunteering at Helping Hands or whatever."
Well, even like obviously you and I are kind of on the same page. Like we're just kind of talking to some of the homeless people.
Yeah, and
directly,
sometimes
trying-
that's a lot of it is what it takes. When they have the hot team that goes out and they make contact with these people, but they're talking about 15, 20 times they have to actually physically make contact with these people before they either take services or even sometimes just take literature.
Yeah.
Or they'll take literature and they'll just throw it up,
They just throw it away.
use it as a fire starter or whatever.
Yeah,
so I went to the hot team offices. I got more pamphlets and stuff to take around with me in case I find new people that are here. They're all over, and that's one of the issues is that they're spread out. I mean, we're 40 square miles, 42 square miles, and they're all up and down the riverbed, all up and down the beach, and I think that's one of the issues that the hot team has is, it's just having few resources and few people actually on the team. They actually hired a new officer and a new social worker, so hopefully that will help some. But still, you have a ton of people that you have to go out and talk to,
And
know,
it's
and more
tough.
people coming in every day.
Yeah. So my brother took Jeff the Birdman in, so at least he's off the street now, and then he's kind of giving him some shelter. So that's like a good thing. And again, he doesn't have all the typical issues that are out there.
Right.
But from what Jeff was telling, I was like, dude, I'm like, so you're not supposed to be here. He goes, and he told me a story, and it turns out like I recognize him. I just know where from.
Right.
He knew one of my brothers 30 years ago.
Oh, is that right?
The guy worked construction, was having a tough time with his hip, couldn't work, fell on hard times, couldn't keep up with his bills.
Yeah.
the last straw on him was he was behind on his registration. He got his truck impounded.
No truck, no vehicle.
And
Can't go
without,
anywhere.
you're like even.
Yeah. That's. I mean, there's certainly. I mean, everybody's got a story. You know, everybody's got. You know, it's all individualized, and that's a lot of people are realizing that you just can't lump everybody that's out there homeless as one.
Yeah,
As homeless.
There's categories. of
Everybody has to be talked to on an individual basis and find out what their medical needs are, what their social needs are, whether they need drug rehab or whatever. You know,
one of the tough things with him is I want to say that he's one in 200, maybe 1 in 300. I mean, I could be way off on the numbers, but he even said he's like 99% of the people out here don't want help.
Right.
They're just whatever they're doing, they want to keep doing that.
Yeah, and I found that in the few interviews that I've done so far is, you know, there's a guy John that's pretty well known that lives by the CVS over on Oceanside Boulevard, and he said the same thing. He's like, there are services out there. He's like, I just want to be free. You know, I just want to do my own thing, and I don't want anybody to bother me. I try not to bother anybody else. You know, if I use a bathroom at CVS, I keep it clean. But then he said there's all these new people that come in, they don't give a shit, and they'll take a shower in there and leave it all nasty, and next thing you know, they close it off to us.
Have you seen that documentary about the Santa Ana River Trail?
Yeah, there's a couple documentaries that have been made so far. There's a guy who runs a webpage called Dying California.
Right.
He does some drone footage of a lot of the stuff that's going up there.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy, one of the news anchors up in Seattle did a documentary also.
Seattle's heartbreaking right now.
Seattle's super heartbreaking, and San Francisco also.
Yeah.
Hell, even L.A., San Francisco, Seattle, and not even San Diego. I mean, I don't know when's the last time you've been down to downtown San Diego, but it's the same way by the library and the ballpark.
Yeah.
It's just people just laying around on the streets with, you know, seemingly no hope.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult situation because obviously, you know, you and I, homeowners, taxpayers, pay into a system that unfortunately very few people take advantage of, you know. People who don't want to be found, who don't want to be part of the system. But, you know, when it comes down to it, still have to provide emergency services for and things like that. You know, and there's no metrics for the government in terms of curing homelessness, you know.
Right.
So we pay $5-6 million, you know, for homeless housing, for Section 8, for hot teams, outreach, you know, this and that, providing free services. And as you say, you know, anecdotally, 99% of the people don't want them. You know, you can't force people into it, you know, unless they're a harm to others or themselves, you know, do a 5150. That's even temporary. But yeah, at some point you got to say, look, you got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and I think that you know, unfortunately, that mentality is kind of gone the way of the 8-track. You know, picking yourself up by the bootstraps. You know, people growing up 30s, 40s, 50s. You know, going through the depression and the wars and things like that, and coming back and just doing what needed to be done to survive. People don't seem to want to do that anymore. You know, I mean, it's easier when you have the state paying for all the stuff, free phones and there's medical care and all this kind of stuff.
There's such bizarre twist to some of it too, because like, you know, 20 years ago we had like a handful of homeless people, and I remember one guy, he had a dog, and he walked away from a corporate lifestyle that he lived up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Just got burnt out on everything and just walked away.
Yeah.
And wound up down here.
Yeah.
And I've come across a few people they're homeless because they just can't afford anything.
Right.
So they're living in the bush in tents, but they're going to work every day still.
Yeah. No, there are
And
definitely
it's like,
people out there like that. This working poor, you know,
Yeah.
that take the city bus or county bus or hitch rides and sleeping on, you know, couch surfing and stuff. And there's certainly people out there. You know, I know one lady that I know acquaintance online that she's taken several people in. You know, got people sleeping in their spare bedroom on the couch. One guy's out in the driveway in his car. You know, but you know, I mean, it's one thing to be, you know, generous enough to put yourself out there, but again, you don't know who these people are.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's the scary part right now is there's so much mental illness that's on the streets right now, and unfortunately we hear all the bad stuff because of this crazy 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
As before, maybe read it in the paper a little bit here and there, but you never really saw it, as we do today, or YouTube and Facebook and all this kind of stuff.
So this neighborhood, I moved in 2001, and so there was a lot of movement. A lot of people that lived up here a long time were selling, and so it was on an upswing. And there were some troublemakers here.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of police shootings where some of these families that have some of these houses were definitely kind of involved with and connected to. And so that kind of started the upswing of like, hey, like a lot of people, some people had been here a long time, because like some of the people I went to school with, their parents are still here, so they were sick of it.
Yeah.
It was quiet for a while, and it was rowdy for a while, it was quiet again, and so we all got together, and we had gotten a criminal abatement process going on in one of the trouble houses.
Oh, got you.
Now these people, they were selling meth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they got a court order. They owned their house outright. They had to move out by court order and
Is that
board
right?
that shit up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough. You don't want to have to do that to people, but in the same sense,
But you also don't want that kind of element, hanging, in your neighborhood and bringing all the other bad people around.
There's too many kids up here. Like, would be out playing and they'd pick something up and what's this? And they'd pick up somebody's fucking syringe or whatever.
Yeah, no, and my neighbor just and we live up up the hill a little bit away from the riverbed, but she found a syringe in her driveway. So I wound up putting some security lights for her the other day, because she's home a lot in the evening. Her husband's a musician, and he's out during the night. So I put some security lights up for her. But yeah, plenty of evidence that there's people just doing whatever they want, and unfortunately, we have AB 109 and Prop 47 that really hamstrung the police in terms of charging people and reducing felonies to misdemeanors and pushing people out of jail who should be in jail and things like that. So
some of those propositions where it was like, if you voted no, the final paragraph in it, they were going to do it anyways. So there was a lot of the wool pulled over our eyes.
Unfortunately, the voters bought it and voted for it, but we have some crazy legislatures in the House and legislators that are going to actually put it forth, because they know people will buy it. Were you down here the other day when all this happened?
I was here that morning.
Yeah.
And then I left, and then all of a sudden the Texas stuff all went through the neighborhood, and I was like, because people are on that side of the street all the time, and I was like, well, how did that get missed?
That's all posted no trespassing on there, right?
It's posted no trespassing.
Those white signs.
There's trails on this side too, so you can hop this trail and you can get all the way out to the junkyards.
Yeah.
That's what will get you out to Bennett and Food
Right.
And
the
all
bike
that.
Trail, you mean?
No.
Oh, I see. There's
a trail
there's a foot trail that
there's manholes along there, so every once in a while they clear them out, but there's kind of like I don't want to say public access, but there's a trail that's through there that
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go over there and look in that area, because my wife and I see the trickle of whatever water's in the river down there, and we're like, wow, they found a body in the water. And then we were coming down this way on the 76, and she's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of water in there at this end of the river. So we weren't really aware how much water was in there.
Yeah, so we're not sure if it's somebody from the homeless encampment on this side or on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
Or if it was from a homeless encampment further up the river and it just happened to lodge
Oh,
here.
there's plenty of homeless encampments up there. I mean, I did a walk east of Fusat, only like a mile, and I counted at least 10 different homeless encampments. And I haven't even been down this way. I've done the bike trail a few times, but they said that there's a lot over here at this west end.
Yeah. So just FYI, there's like the little access right here that you can see where you can kind of get a vehicle that goes down that way.
Yeah.
And that'll get you over to the harbor. If you take the one up the hill right here where that sign is, see
Yeah.
that sign right there between the trees?
Oh yeah, way up
If
there.
you take that one right there, it'll drop you in and I'll take you to the end of where Loretta Street used to cross like 40 years ago.
Okay.
And then there's like a tunnel of bamboo that'll take you all the way to the junkyards. Just check yourself for ticks,
Yeah. Okay.
because that's
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna actually. I mean, I just want to take a look over there
Yeah.
because I didn't realize or didn't know if this was all still posted no trespassing at the road's edge. I mean, that's the other thing. Here we are. I don't want to be caught trespassing in a federally protected preserve because I'll get a ticket and have to pay money out of my pocket. But yet here these people are, living down there chronically for years and years, and the police can't do anything about
But
it.
here's the weird thing about it. So Loretta Street washed out. So if you go all the way up the hill and you make a right on Santa Anita, it's the top of Loretta Street. And Loretta Street's on the map and it shows it going down into the canyon.
Yeah.
And it's posted no trespassing. But it's a public street.
Right. Right.
So it's like, well,
Only because of safety reasons, safety concern.
so what happened? There used to be a bridge that went across 40 years ago before the 76 went through.
Oh, like so Canyon going across to Canyon?
So there used to be a bridge, but it washed out. And at the time, people were sick of all the people from that side of the neighborhood, because that side of the neighborhood and this side of the neighborhood is one development.
Yeah.
And so all these people were coming over here and they were creating all kinds of havoc. So when it washed
Interesting.
out, it was under a neighborhood association, an
Okay.
HOA,
Oh,
a
okay.
covenant.
Gotcha.
And they were like, well, you know what? We're sick of this, so we don't want to pay the extra tax to put that thing in. We'll just have the one-way in and out here. by the
Going
front
back up
Pendleton."
to the top, yeah.
Yeah. And so that was that. So it never went
Interesting.
back in. Yeah. And it's come up.
Yeah,
a
I
couple
wondered
times.
about that because there's not really a bunch of access to this except for right
Yeah.
off the freeway there.
So at Loretta Street, there used to be an Army Corps of Engineers bridge that kind of.
Yeah, they have jurisdiction over all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's supposed to be some plan that's been on hold for 15, 20 years about dredging this and clearing some of this west end out to allow more flow or something. I don't know, but the city council and the sheriffs are like send emails and letters to the Army Corps of Engineers to make them finish this project.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which would help clear a lot of the homeless out of this west end. But
Yeah, 2008 or 2009, we had, and you can Google it. We had a series of fires. I think we had 50 fires in like 50 days.
oh, in the riverbed.
In the riverbed, we had an arson.
Yeah.
And so the problem that they were having was that there was a lot of what we thought was bamboo. It's called arundo.
Okay.
That the Spanish had brought in for thatch when they built the missions.
Gotcha.
It's not native here.
Right.
And it's really, really invasive.
Not much in terms
So
of that.
it's got internal oxygen to it. So when they would set it, it would go off. It would go off big.
I see.
And when you burn it or cut it down, it would come back twofold and threefold.
Oh Lord.
So it's really crazy. So
Right.
they were
Super
like,
invasive.
Okay, well, they need to eradicate that. Well, somebody threw in the environmental angle on it, and it's like, well, the California gnatcatcher, we
Yeah.
can't do it at this time of year. The frogs, we can't do it at this time of year.
Right. The least
snakes,
turn and all
of a
that.
sudden,
Yeah.
It's like there's all this stuff, and we're sitting there going, wait a minute. If all this stuff's protected, we're humans. What are we protected from?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, like the last straw, they were down there doing some surveying, and somebody found like a steelhead trout
Oh,
in the
okay.
river here, which is common for like the Rockies, not here.
Gotcha.
And so they.
So now they had to study that,
so
figure
there's
out what's
like
wrong with
There's
that.
like a 2-month window of opportunity where they can go in and clear shit out.
Yeah.
Then they got to stop for a year.
Yeah. I know they've mowed plenty down near me by Bennett and Fusat. But this is more tree. It's not just grass
Yeah.
and bush. This is more tree stuff down here, more thick
Yeah, so it's got its
overgrowth.
And then we've had a lot of people that would they would cut the locks and drive down,
Sure.
dump all their yard stuff and everything down there. So you have the rogue
Oh yeah.
plants that come up. You got the rogue palm trees that come up.
Yeah.
All the stuff
Yeah.
that's been dumped. And
Yeah.
So it's got a number of issues. But the politics is, I mean, we were like a couple of times we just said fuck it, and we all got together and went down there with trucks and trailers.
Yeah.
And just picked up all the trash and shit and cleared some stuff
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. There's a lot of. The police won't even let any volunteer groups go down in there unless they have escorts.
Yeah.
There's a group right now. I don't know if you're aware of it. There's a Facebook group called Take Back Oceanside that has some effort into help try and figure this thing out. And they've had a few cleanup days where they've gone and picked up trash. And they want to do more, but again, having the resources with the PD and the city to actually go down and do it is the real holdup, as you were saying.
Yeah. You want to go wander around with them, girl? Go ahead.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it takes people like that just to say, "Screw it, let's just go do it." You know?
That was kind of, we were getting frustrated. We were getting all this red tape run around and stuff, and then finally we were just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Stop us.
Yeah.
Come find us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they didn't do anything and stuff.
Right.
And we've got.
I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, you're cleaning up the area, you know?
It's like we're kind of doing your job here.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, this is the other,
Sash,
how
what do you
crazy it is.
got? Did you grab their treat, goofy girl? All right. Right there.
So,
Turbo didn't want it.
Yeah, Turbo's not eating.
Yeah, I can tell.
so all those people that live down there on that corner at Bennett and 76, down in that riverbed, that part of it, which I actually think is private property, that section of it, that triangular section between 76 Bennett and the bike path, because I've seen signs up there that had that for sale development, to say.
Yeah, I was under the long-term impression that a lot of that was owned by the Deutsche company.
Yeah.
Which is an international company.
Yeah.
I think they're based out of like Egypt or some shit like that. I don't remember. And you got to understand, I've really seen this place change because
Sure.
Bennett Road, when I was in high school, was a wooden bridge, one car at a time.
Is that right?
With no side rails.
Yeah,
Like it was.
that's pretty
Because
crazy.
we would go back to the junkyards to get parts for our
Sure,
shit.
sure.
And so.
So they
it's
contract
changed.
with a company. The city contracts with a company that go there a couple times a week to pick up trash that they supply trash bags
Yeah.
to the homeless people down in the riverbed to bring all their trash back up. And some do, some don't. I mean, I was down there one day and I talked to Denicio, one of the guys who worked on that crew. They were bringing up coolers and gas grills, propane tanks, surfboards, bicycles,
We
baby
did-
carriages.
When we did our first cleanup down here, we found this hollowed out. It was almost like an igloo of weeds.
Yeah.
Right. You walk inside. It was 8 feet tall. It was all cleared out. They had cots,
Cots, yeah.
portable generators,
Yeah.
camping stoves. I mean,
Sure.
it was like, holy shit, this is somebody's condo.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, we were like, we actually left it. Like the ones
Right.
that were all hoarded and trashed out, this,
Right.
that, and the other. Like we cleaned those ones up, but that other one, like we left it. We were like,
I mean, this is their possession. I mean, this is their
Yeah.
worldly possessions. I mean, this is all their stuff that they have in the world, and this is where they live. So, no, I get it. But again, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like we have services provided for you to go and take advantage of. Housing, and that's the other thing. I mean, especially you talk about the working poor and this and that. You got to get somewhere that you can afford to live. You know what I mean? Oceanside, California, although still, that's one thing I love about it. It still feels like a small town here, but it's becoming more and more expensive, like every place else in California. And I mean, if you can't afford to live here, you got to go somewhere you can afford to live. It's not going to be by the beach. It might be in, Nat's not Arkansas or something, but who knows?
yeah, it's definitely a struggle. I mean, you see a lot more people sofa surfing and just
Yeah.
doing what they can. I mean, I'm like blown away because I see room rentals for $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, 2001 when we moved up here, we were living in a one-bedroom apartment down by the beach. It was $500 a month.
Right.
And you're just like, man, it's double that for just a room.